Thank you, Camilo. Thank you, Yomi. Thank you, Camilo. Sorry, I'm going to repeat myself here. I was muted over there. Thank you for joining today's live chat. I am going live here on Facebook profile page, YouTube through this StreamYard, and then on Instagram as well. I have not done a live chat in a really, really long time, and I'm kind of excited about it. I used to do them a little bit more regularly. I did live Q&As on certain topics. Most of the time I would pick a specific topic to talk about, or I would do it in conjunction with an event that I was attending, and we would discuss, something related to what I was going to be teaching. So this is, I guess, my first time doing a very open live chat. I had asked a lot of you to submit your questions, and I got some really, really good ones, really deep ones. A lot of dance questions, which I will get to. I've got my little, notebook and stuff. But there are some pretty deep questions, which I think will be fun to discuss. I would love to hear your thoughts. And again, if you are just joining, if you're joining here on Facebook and or on YouTube or on Instagram, please say hi. I'm not having one of my live interviews where I'm interacting with somebody else. I'm actually here with you all, but you're not actually here with me where I can see you. So do say hi, leave your comments. I would love to. You're watching on too, Alex. You're crazy. I'd love to know who's in the chat. Actually, before I get into anything, where is everybody from? Where are you logging in from? Tell me. Say hi and then tell me where you're from. Nahuatl, Mexico. Cool. This is going to be hard to manage the comments in. I know, Krishma, you're from Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. That is merci, Pati. Amin is in Iran. So that's pretty cool. 3 channels, 4 channels. The smoothie. Hi, Irina. That's my Q-Fit. She's from Belarus. So yeah, this is pretty. Anita's from Qatar. Cool. Phoenix, Sean. Selva Kumar from Malaysia. Yomi's in Kent, UK. Wayne from Bermuda, one of my favorite countries. Stephen from New Jersey, but not anymore. Yes, Stephen, you're where now? Iceland? No, Sweden. Norway? I can't remember. Earl Hall, hello, El Cabo from Chicago. James from the Eternal Pit of Darkness, which I call work, from the West Coast. Roy from Dubai, currently in Toronto. That's my home city. T-Dot. I'm still calling it T-Dot. I'm not calling it the 6. All right. I don't care Drake or whoever the hell made up the 6. I'm not calling it the 6. Yasmin from Syria. Alex from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Love my visits there. And I love, there's this one a drink that is a mix of pineapple with mint, and they blend everything in. Oh my God, so good. So just a quick little something. Oh, Debraj from Calcutta. Lots of. Wim is from Belgium. Jesus Aponte is in the house. Cool. Turkey, Mr. Basar. Kansas City, Lydia. Wow. This is so beautiful. Merhaba to all my Turkish friends. Champagne Poppy would be disappointed in you. I don't care what Champagne Poppy thinks. Carla from Birmingham. Ahmed from Egypt. Yes, Denmark. Sorry, my bad, Stephen. Okay, so I do want to engage in this chat and get your questions as well. So if you're thinking of something, because I know maybe you did not catch the little requests for questions earlier. I always like to field some questions just in case I end up here by myself and no one's engaging. At least I have something to talk about and some value to offer or attend to something. But if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask me or that you want to discuss, throw them into the comments. I will kind of alternate between some of the questions I got in advance to whatever you guys write in the comments. All right. So the first and most common question I get is, how did I get into dance? Right? Papo asked this, Karishma asked this, a couple of people have asked this. I think every interview I do, people ask this. And I think I might just cut this clip and then put it online and just say, this is how I got into dance, so that anyone who needs to know has that story. I got into dance from watching the movie Dance With Me, which is a very, very old movie with Vanessa Williams and Cheyenne. And they were dancing a Cuban style salsa. It wasn't even linear salsa. And I had seen that movie a very long time ago, and then kind of was enamored by what I had seen on the screen. And then before you know it, I forgot about it. I came back to Toronto and nothing happened. Then I saw flyers on a bus stop for salsa lessons. And I was like, salsa, that sounds really familiar. And I remember that's what they were dancing in the movie. And I remember how excited I was when I was watching it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to call this person to find out, what all this salsa stuff is about. And I took a couple of lessons. I learned the very basic steps. So some of you are familiar with my finger dancing, the people who have taken my classes online, which I'll get to in a minute. But I used to just not linear, obviously. I would like step, 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 kick, step, 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 kick, step, 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 kick. So that's what I took a couple of lessons to learn how to do. I must have taken like 3 lessons, and then we ended up going to a club in Toronto. El Rancho or Flamingo. Those were like the 2 popular clubs in Toronto. We went there and I saw all these people dancing, and that was it. I was hooked. I could not imagine that I would not continue with the dance. And then what ended up happening is I stopped going to take the lessons, and I just went out dancing all the time. And I went out with the instructor who had taught me, because he was going out all the time. And then what ended up happening was, I remember no one was doing anything really all that complicated. Like they would do some like tricks and stuff, but the turn patterns themselves were pretty easy. Were not basic, but not that complicated as things are now. And I remember dancing with this one guy, I forgot his name, but we danced and he kept on trying to lead me through things that I could not understand what he was doing. And so I was like, oh, do it again. I didn't get it. Do it again. And he would do it again. And then he was like, the reason that you're not getting this is not because I'm doing anything different. It's because you are so used to dancing with that guy, the instructor who I'd always go with. So you don't know how to follow anybody else. And that was the day that I was like, all right, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to make sure that I can follow anyone and everyone. And so since that day, I would, generally dance 1 to 2 songs max with a person, and then switch partners. And that's how I ended up getting really good at following. And so in terms of the dance and like the draw of the dance, it was, of course, to be able to do a bunch of crazy things, to be able to follow, to be able to look good on the dance floor. But a big part of it actually had to do with just being able to connect with another person, right? Create, yes, be creative and express myself, but create with another human being. Yeah. So that's my story on how I got into dance, how I got into salsa specifically. There's a longer, funnier, crazier story behind even watching that movie, which maybe one day I will reveal. I'm not sure. A couple of friends know that, but most people don't. You guys will think I'm really crazy. You probably already think I'm crazy. So I don't think it'll add that much to the mix. But yeah, so that's how I got into dance. If you have any questions regarding that, let me know. Look, Maniki. Teşekkür ederim. Hi, Colin. Jesus is in Puerto Rico. I want to go there. I mean, yes, is Iran. Yannick from South Africa. Mary Angel from New Orleans. Checking in. Love it. Chispa. All right. Oh, Mumbai, we got in the house. Montreal in the house. Wow. This is such a cool, very cool global audience. I'm very honored. Gina, I'm going to get to your question. Gina was asking, when am I going to do workshops on the weekend again? I don't have any plans at the moment to do workshops on the weekend. One of the reasons I had stopped doing them on the weekend is just because now with things opening up with COVID, there are, all my friends are kind of going back to work. And so it's a little bit difficult to spend time with them during the week. and the weekends are kind of the only time that they have free. So I'd like to try and keep it open so that I can go and socialize and do all of that stuff. So weekend workshops, not so sure, but I am preparing another class, a back to basics intensive, which will be during the week, which will include replays. So the workshops on the weekends did not have replays. So if you weren't there, there was nothing really to review, but the intensive would have replays. So Gina, I know you were interested in that. Perhaps this might be something of interest to you. And for anybody else, you can always send me a message on any of these 4 platforms or my website, and I can always answer that for you. All right, so let's see, what else do we have? Also, whoever's coming in now, say hi. Say hi and where you're from. I'm always excited about that. Hi, Juan Cruz. I don't need your translations today. We had a very nice interview with him and with people in Argentina, and he was there to interview me. They were like, let's find a translator, because I said I don't know if I feel very comfortable being able to express myself in Spanish. And we did a 90-minute interview in Spanish in like talking about topics that were pretty deep, and I managed to do the entire interview in Spanish. So anyways, now Waco, I'm not sure when I'll be back in Mexico. I hope sometime soon. Hi, Coffee Gal. Hi, Ponce Ponce. Sekou in the house. All right. So next question. Gina's got it. I got it. Sorry, Gina. Also, Instagram's chat is terrible. I don't even know how the hell you can kind of like scroll comfortably through it. Justin in the house. All right. So let's get to the next question. Okay. I'm trying to make it so that it is doesn't go really, really deep all of a sudden, and you guys are like, oh my God, there's existential crisis happening here. I'm trying to like lead up to it. So if I don't get to some of the questions that you sent me, I will do my best to do it later. But if you ever have anything, please send me your questions, and I'll try and attend to it either in another live or in one of my empowered vlogs or blog. Or something, I'll find a way to get to it. So dance related, Gina, I got your question. Let me check that off. Alex was asking, what qualities can dancers lose during confinement if they don't have a partner? Which is an excellent question, because yes, we have had lots of opportunities to learn, and we have had lots of opportunities to practice, and particularly things that we can do on our own, footwork, styling, body movement, spins, but we haven't really had a chance to continue our training as it relates to having a partner. And I would say the most common thing to lose if you don't have a partner is a sense of adaptation. I'm a huge advocate of building that strength and building your ability to adapt quickly. And the beauty of social dancing is that we actually can build that skill, right? We can build that skill of adaptation, because social dancing is not generally choreographed. It is improvised, and it forces us to be light on our feet and fast on our feet. So that's one thing that we will most likely end up struggling with when we go back. Now, one thing I'd like to add to that, however, is that our connection to our partners when it comes to dancing has an element of technique, of course, right? There's an element of like technical skill, like how well can you follow, how well can you turn or spin or lead your frame and all of these things. But our ability to dance with somebody else and to retain that ability to adapt often depends on our intention. And I always come back to this because we tend to approach partner dancing from a very individualistic, self-gratifying, self-centered approach. Like, yes, we understand that this is a dance that's with a partner, but we don't really approach it with the idea that I'm going to try and create with you. we approach it as a lead sometimes, like, all right, these are all the patterns that I've learned and this is what I want to do. And then as followers are like, okay, I want to see how well I can follow and where I can throw in my styling and things like that, right? When really it's about connecting with another person and trying to interact and trying to create with that person. So if you have an intention to connect with someone, you will always find a way, your body will find a way to get you up to speed. You know, obviously, again, technical skills aside, if you think about, let's say, walking with someone and talking to somebody, right? I've given this example in actual, like, my physical workshops, and I don't say it at first, but I have people like get together and demonstrate the natural ability of our bodies to step up so that we can stay connected. So if you're walking with someone and let's say you're having a conversation and that person is walking faster, even if you want to walk at a slower pace, you will find yourself walking faster. Not whether you even walked at that pace ever. You might find yourself tired. You might find yourself like, damn, how the hell are we walking so fast, right? If you're not used to it, but you could still find yourself walking that fast because what you're trying to do is not walk fast. You're trying to connect because that person is having a conversation with you. So you're actually trying to listen to what they're saying. And you realize that when they're this far ahead of you, you can't hear them. And so you increase your speed, you increase your pace, your muscles find a way to carry your body at that speed so that you can now be within earshot of whatever they're saying. So, Alex, to attend a little bit more in detail to your question, that's one of the things that I would say is something that's very common for people to lose, but it's not even necessarily that confinement is the reason that we lose it. Right? That inability to connect with someone or the inability to adapt, it is really a matter of intention. It's about how you approach that relationship with another person and how you approach the whole idea of connecting with another human being. If you are approaching the dance for your own self-fulfillment and just whatever it is that you learn that you want to get better at, or if you're approaching the dance to see what you can learn about someone else and how that person's impact on you can change what you have to offer to that person. You know? And of course, that goes beyond dance. That goes to any and every relationship that we have with another human being, whether that is a romantic relationship, whether that's friendship, whether that's a work relationship or parental, any relationship it works for. So Alex, I hope that answered your question. All is not lost, definitely, but we do need to make sure that we keep our mind on the right thing, focused on the right thing. Gormac's in the house. Hi, Gormac. All right. Question from the audience. Leo Fig. Hola, hola, hola. Great to see you. Awesome. Thank you, Leo. I'm doing well. I hope you are too. Earl asked, I'm always curious to know how your mom is doing ever since I ran into her at a Congress. So I always ask how she's doing. Hope she's doing well. My mom is doing well. Thank you for asking. She has gone to one Congress with me once ever. New Jersey Salsa Congress in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, she's a personality. Like she does not need any babysitting. She's just out there doing her own thing, talking to everybody, shooting the shit, making jokes about me, of course, but that's not really that hard because I'm always doing some stupid shit that's easy to make fun of. So really, are you a comedian making fun of me, or am I just providing all of the, the ammo? Instagram froze. Okay. I don't know. Crap. Thank you, Justin. Let me go in and I don't know how to do that actually. Let's see. Sorry, folks. There are some technical complications occasionally. Share to IG. I will get back online on Instagram right now. Sorry, guys. But in the meantime, if you have any other questions, feel free to add anything in there. All right. Post. Okay. Getting back live on Instagram. Let's try this again. Thank you. See, I guess this is a perk, right? I would not have even known that I was disconnected on Instagram had it not been for Justin, who's on Instagram and who happens to be on Facebook as well. All right, we're back. Sorry, Instagram. I know you must have missed that last part, which was actually pretty good. Anyways, But moving on, Sean, have you taken up any new hobbies since social dancing has been depressed? It's been a good expansion period for me. Indeed, for myself as well. Fitness has been one of the things that I have gotten into. Some of you might have joined the quarantine fitness sessions that I was doing for about 2 months live. Hi, Munch. Love you too. So yeah, I was doing the quarantine fitness, and the reason I had gotten into that is because I just gotten back into the gym. So I felt like shit. I've had a month of relatively consistent exercises in the gym, and then quarantine hit, and I did not want to lose that. And also, the weather was really crap, so it wasn't even like I had any interest in going outside. Hi, Richie. I had any interest in going outside because it was kind of cold. So I'm like, all right, what can I do to stay fit, to maintain? And I know the importance of fitness and physical activity in not just keeping your body healthy, but at least for me, keeping me mentally sane. It's letting go of all of that energy, getting it out of your system, sweating it out, exerting yourself. And then, of course, there's another element of it as well. But fitness is one of the things, Sean, that I had gotten into. I wouldn't say it's a hobby per se, but it has definitely taken a entirely new dimension as a result of quarantine, because now I have QFit workshops, QFit sessions rather, where I have like small private groups where we're actually doing live sessions and training. Some of those people might be in the chat. And if you ask any of them, I'm pretty certain they will be like, yeah, they're really good. Magna's a little bit crazy. She comes up with some really weird mutations of animals, and then we come up with exercises that challenge us, Hey, Felipe. So related to that question, however, is in terms of fitness, rather, is Ashley's question, which was about mobility and strength training that can help a dancer. So I never really worked out with the intention of training for dance. Obviously, there are people who do that where they're like, doing stretches and things like that to improve their splits, or guys that I know who do a lot of like bench presses and squats so that they can lift women for moves in dance. And I never trained like that before when I went to the gym. And then when the gym kind of ended, then I was just working out from home. And so I started to get a little bit more creative with my workouts at home. I have done challenges in the past. I did, like 30-day push-up challenge. Hi, Nitya. 30-day push-up challenge, 30-day burpee challenge, 100 burpees every day, yoga challenge, all of these things. And when quarantine hit and when we got stuck inside, I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Like what kind of challenge? But I didn't want to focus on just one exercise and on one body part. I wanted to continue like a full body routine. And so I started doing, some simple exercises, which now after, 6 months in, have mutated into something beautiful. I'd like to say it's something beautiful, but they've kind of mutated into something that is like very different. And so now I find myself like doing exercises that challenge my full range, And for Ashley, speaking about mobility and strengthening that helps a dancer, like considering our dance involves movement that is sometimes surprising, is fast, is quick changes in direction, requires strength, requires flexibility, requires a very strong and firm connection to the ground, requires the ability to connect in the hands. So you need grip strength, you need resistance, an understanding of resistance with your partner. You need to be able to generate momentum and then control that momentum. There are all of these elements of dance, but most of the time when we think about training fitness-wise for dance, we think, okay, well, splits. All right, let's try and get further into splits, or speed, so maybe we're doing a lot of runs on the treadmill. But I think what you want to do when it comes to training for dance is really start to explore the full range of your body, get to understand how your body moves and how many different ways it can move. Hi, Clara. Sorry, I see you. How many different ways it can move, and then push those limits, right? Like for me, dance, my approach to dance, my approach to fitness, my approach to pretty much everything is always along these lines of, all right, this is what's expected of me. This is what's asked of me. All right, I'm going to meet that challenge. I'm going to understand my body as well as I can to be my best for what's being asked of me. But now that I got that, I'm not comfortable with just staying there. I don't have that like complacent personality in general. So once I get to that level, I'm like, all right, so I can turn to the right once within this amount of music or this amount of time in the music. Let me see if I can do more, and I'll try that. Same thing with the fitness stuff. I can do a push up in this way. What about this way? That's the common stuff. All right, these different hand positions. Okay, what if I do it on one side? How does that challenge my body? And so when it comes to any type of training, I think it's important for us to uh, explore our range, explore our limits or what we think are our limits, because I've learned, over my years that anytime I think there's a limit, something a competitive spirit or a challenge or something shows me I can pass that limit. So really it's all in the mind for the most part. Hopefully, Ashley, that answers your question. And of course, the QFit is open to anyone and everyone. We will be starting another session coming up in a week. Next week is week 4 of this current 4-week session. So the next one will be starting September 13th on the Monday. I will put out the information for that. Of course, you can also find it on my website, magnagopal.com. There's a section for QFit there that you can /QFit that you can find that info. And of course, if you want any like training, you can always reach out to me privately, and I can do that for you as well. Another question we've got, Sean, what'd you say? I have had to start dieting and doing more exercise since we aren't getting 24 hours of cardio per week. Yeah, so that's another thing too, right? It really depends on what you're comfortable with. For me, I'm not comfortable with putting on a lot of weight. I'm not comfortable with buying another set of clothes because all the clothes that I have don't fit. I'm not comfortable with that. And since I'm not comfortable with that, I'm going to make sure I don't have to deal with that discomfort. And that's why I train the way I train. That's why I eat the way I eat. And I'm not saying I eat well. You have, if you have followed my Instagram and my Facebook stories and stuff, you have seen the many occasions where I'm like, oh, look at these 3 pints of ice cream. And then, the next day I'm like, oh, they're finished already. So I'm not pretending to be a saint when it comes to diet and even fitness and even vices, but I do know at least the limit for what makes me uncomfortable within my own body. And again, it's even size. It's not even about size. It's about mobility. I want to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. And if I'm out of shape, overweight, not flexible, not strong, not fast, I'm not gonna be able to do those things. And then I'm gonna feel, like I'm missing out on something, that I really would have enjoyed doing. And that's why I train the way I train. And that's why I try and keep my physique the way I maintain it. Sean, hope that helps. All right. James asks, what did you discover about yourself during this quarantine that you might not have under normal circumstances? Excellent question. I actually have that written down here. I will check that one off now. What did I learn about myself over quarantine? Chocolate is a weakness. Gina, I don't know if you're saying it's a weakness for you, but it definitely is a weakness for me. So one of the things that I learned, and this is actually going to tie into another question I was asked by Daniel, which said, like, your recommendations for people on how they can shift or change the way they see themselves. And then James's question about what did I discover about myself during this quarantine that I might not have under normal circumstances. And this one's an interesting one. I have danced for 20 years, right? And I'm about to give something away now. That's half my life, okay? I've been in dance for half of my life, 20 years. And yeah, when you spend half of your life, half of your adult life especially, right? Doing one thing mainly, you attach your identity to that. And I will tell you that when not necessarily so much at this period with quarantine, because I actually experienced something before, which I'll share with you in a minute. Um, I'll tell you that it's tricky, when everyone knows you a certain way, and then that way is not possible, that way is not available to you. You start to question, like, what is your own self-worth? What is your identity? Who are you? And that was one thing that I had learned through this quarantine, which is I am whatever the hell I want to be. I wasn't dancing all the time. That's been a career of mine, but I was also shifting towards public speaking and more into coaching. And I'd already made that shift before quarantine. But before I made that shift, it took me a minute, to be like, oh, how can I do all of these things? I know dance. And I'm going to share a story about a friend of mine who is a pilot. And obviously, we all know that travel is not really happening to the same degree that it was before. A lot of layoffs and lost work in that industry. And of course, we're not even allowed to leave the US to go to a lot of places. So that's another level. But when I was talking to him, there were a couple of occasions that we had spoken, and he was just sad and miserable and really upset about this entire situation. Like, I lost all my work. And I'm like, me too. I got all my gigs for this year gone. They are gone. Poof. Like in an instant. Like, I've never seen things disappear that quickly, other than possibly chocolate, if you leave that in front of me and you turn your head the other way, right? But yeah, for me, this 2020, all my work disappeared. Everything I had planned for this year in terms of income to manage my own life and my business and all of that stuff, gone. And to be honest, I don't even know what's going to happen with 2021, because considering the way the United States is handling this crisis, it is it's really questionable, what actually is going to come out of it. But what I looked at is I have a lot of other skills, right? Like, dance is one way that I have channeled my personality, my intelligence, my knowledge, my training, my experience, and my skills. That's what dance is, right? I am all of those other things more than I am a dancer. That's what makes me who I am, not dance. It's what I'm channeling myself into. And so this was how I started the fitness stuff, right? I was like, well, I'm not uncomfortable being in front of the camera. I also don't really care about, like, how I look. I know I hope I look presentable today. This is a little bit of effort, but for those of you who had seen me through the quarantine fitness, or who see me 3 times a week in our private group, sometimes I just come in there like, did she just stick her finger in an electrical socket? Because she looks crazy right now. So I realized, though, that I don't mind, being in front of the camera like this. I enjoy fitness. I enjoy movement. I know my body. I understand it just like the way I understand it with dance. I like people. I like to help people. Here's another way I can help people besides just helping them become better at dancing. I can help them to stay fit and stay engaged and stay happy. With dance, I bring a certain level of energy and positive energy to my dance, to the room that I'm in. And so I take that same thing to fitness. I mean, and the 2 months that I was doing it every single day, I did 60 days straight at 10 a.m. every single day. And let me tell you, that was not easy for me. But not once did I ever show up to any of those fitness sessions upset about anything. Upset about the fact that I did not make the money I needed to pay my rent, for example. Yeah, I never showed up with carrying my problems and then projecting them or displaying them to other people, right? I always showed up with the idea that you have your own shit you're dealing with. It would be really ignorant of me to think you don't. And so why do you need mine as well, right? And so that's one of the ways that I realize all the skills, all the things that I bring that are positive to dance, all of this knowledge that I have of my body that I've been taking to dance, I can take that and re-channel it, to fitness, which is what I did. And so going back to the story about my friend who's a pilot, he was saying that he doesn't have any work. The airline, like, he got fired. He's not being hired right now. Like, no one's traveling there. He's really upset about the situation. And I was like, but you are more than a pilot. I mean, also, just to become a pilot, like, that's even a next level than dancer, right? Like, pilot for a commercial airline where you are in charge of transporting people to another place, they trust you with that. So the kind of training you had to go through, the kind of uh, um, intellect, intelligence, perseverance, commitment, devotion, passion, all of those things that you put into getting your whatever 20,000 flight hours or whatever to just become a pilot, that's you. That's you more than the pilot is you, right? And that's what I would say I have learned from all of this is it's like we need to redefine what we identify with, I think we sometimes identify with possessions and labels, and perhaps even associations. But really, it's the things that can't be taken away from you, right? Like, for me, yeah, you could take dance away from me, but you can't take all the experience that I have. You can't take away the passion that I have for life. You can't take away the fact that I'm generally a positive person. You can't take away my desire to help other people. You can't take that away. And I will always be able to find a way to redirect that to another direction, to another channel. And that's the idea of, like, your identity, like, in terms of how you identify. If you want to change the way you see yourself, find out which labels limit you, and then those same labels that you feel encompass who you are. And if you don't have that label, if someone's not referring to you with that label, that you are no longer who you are, then think about what it took to get that label. What did you go through? What did you have to learn? What did you have to endure? What struggles, what ups and downs, what passion do you have behind getting that label? And then think about that. And that's much more who you are, really, than anything else. Oh, damn, that went real deep, eh? Let me just say hi to a couple of people here in chat. James, I hope that answered your question, James. I hope that was a good answer for other people too, because I know we're all struggling with that. Like, trust me, it was a question I had to ask myself many, many times, Justin, clearly. Jesse James, that's right. Where am I from? I am originally from India, grew up in Canada, living in the US, proudly Canadian. Sean, amen. I'm trying to compete with these 20-something-year-olds. Father Time is a monster. No, you don't need to compete with them. They need to try and compete with you. Let me tell you how many times I go to a sports thing with friends in the park, and they're all like 25 years old, and I will smoke them. I will smoke them. Why? First, intention. Two, regular training. So I'm always in shape. I'm always moving. I'm always challenging my body so that when a challenge presents itself that I wasn't used to or I haven't been exposed to, I'm not that scared, So, Sean, you don't need to compete with them. Make them compete with you. Erica, hi, Erica. What have you done to take care of your mental health? Good question. Hold on to that. Let me just finish saying hi to everyone. Wonder Woman 2020. Thanks, James. You're too kind. Terry in the house. Hello, brother. Well, Pucho Ola. Hi, Neelam. From Rosario. I love Rosario. Father Time isn't the monster. Magna is the monster. True that. People will attest to that. All right. I saw that you killing young people. Yeah, Gina. Exactly. All right. Just hi, Frank. Alex, you look beautiful and you're quite eloquent. When I found out your work as a coach and a public speaker, I thought, oh, it makes sense. Oh, thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. I want to say, just on that line, Giraro Rosarina from Rosario. Also, two people from Rosario, Argentina. Wow, that's cool. La mejor bailarina del planeta. Oh, gracias. Hey, Rack and Hedgehog. Oh, this is, by the way, okay, so whoever's here right now, I'm going to say this again at the end. Please, 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 please. I am a huge fan of getting feedback. I'm a huge fan of like understanding what means something to you, if it means anything to you at all. So if you're watching this right now, please, when you're finished, whenever you're done with watching this live or however long you stay, or whenever you have to exit the chat, magnagopal.com/feedback. There is a form there for the live Q&A, and I would love it if you could just fill that out and let me know if it's helpful. Because again, this is another thing as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as someone who does a lot of their work online, you know, I don't want to come out here and just do whatever the hell I want to do, right? Like that's like a dance. Like we are in a dance as well. Okay. Well, I was just talking about that before, about that partnership and how you can really make the most out of it. And it's not about showing up and saying, well, this is how great I am and this is what I'm going to do, and you do whatever the hell you want. No, it's about asking how whatever greatness I have, how can that help us? How can that help you? How can that help us grow? And so, yes, I have, you know, as Alex is like, oh, you're very eloquent. Great. Thank you for that. But how am I going to use that eloquence in a way that helps other people, right? And really the only way that I can do that is by the feedback that you provide to me. So please fill out that form, magnopal.com/feedback, or just go to my website. There's a link in the menu for feedback. You can just click there and you'll see the link for that particular form for the live Q&A. So fill it in as much detail. And of course, while you're here, let me know if this is something that you'd like me to do on a regular basis. Again, I was trying to do it once a month. I can resume it if this is useful to all of you. Because of course I'm like looking, I feel a little crazy because I'm looking at myself here on the screen, and then I look over here as if I'm going to talk to other people, and I'm just looking at myself on this screen too. So yeah, so I definitely want to know that it's of value to you. Otherwise, this level of crazy is another thing that I could probably avoid. Hi, DJ Mr. Salsa. Okay, real quick, and then I'm going to talk about Erica's question. Ana Luque, hola mi hermana. Tegur, mi reina siempre positiva. Gracias, Tegur. Thank you, Emmy. I should have been throwing these. How many languages can you speak? Arturo, honestly, English, I hope. Spanish, I'm pretty good at. Obviously, I did a 90-minute interview. French, I can get by with French, understanding it if people speak slowly. And if I spend at least 2 weeks around people who are only speaking French, it'll come back to me. And Turkish, I've been teaching myself. I always wanted to like go and live there, and I just love the language. And there's no one I'm speaking Turkish with really, but yeah, I have like an app called Duolingo. So, you know, whatever, 5 minutes a day, just practicing words and vocabulary and things like that. Emmy, are you embracing your grays? You damn right I am. I am very much embracing these grays. I kind of feel like they're like a rogue streak. I got lucky that like a big chunk of them stuck here. I mean, I have them everywhere else, but yeah, definitely embracing them. Romania in the house. Adelina, hi. Erica, Sean misses you. Erica, I don't know if you saw that. Ananya's here. Hi, my love. Josue, Sebastian, Orville. Oh my God. That's my boy from T. Dot. Wow. One of the first people out of Toronto who actually left and became an international artist. So Erica asked about what am I doing to maintain my mental health, right? And fitness is one of the ways that I maintain my mental health. But also I find that there's some way to kind of pay attention to your life and what you've gone through and the way you remember the experiences in your life and your past that will make a difference in your mental health, basically. Oh, crap. I did something here. What did I do? Boom. Okay. So a lot of people, I find, forget their victories, you know, and we have so many victories. And in a situation like this, for example, where we are faced with something we've never experienced, we might have read about it, speaking of, I need emotional music in the background. Orville, shut up. We might not have ever expected to be in this position, right? And so we start to think like, holy shit, this is the stuff you see in movies, right? Or you read in history books and all of that stuff that, like, I don't know how they got it. Look how many people have lost their lives, or how did people survive at that time, right? We start to forget how many things we have overcome in our own lives to whatever point we're at now. And that's one of the other ways that I maintain my mental health, is because I have been through so much. I've been through so many difficult moments in my life, and I'm here, right? I'm here, I'm smiling, I'm positive, I enjoy life. I don't have any resentment. I don't hate anybody, no matter what they've done to me. And I realize that strength to get through all of those other things is a resilience. It's mine. That strength is a part of my identity. And we all have that. We just forget because we remember pain, oftentimes more than we remember those moments of elation or victory or conquest, right? And so when we think of our past experiences and actually look at it like, well, I've been through that. I did this. I learned how to do that. I figured this out. I got myself out of that mess. Maybe I got myself into another mess, but I got myself out of that mess too. Like, you start to see how powerful, how resilient, how capable you are, and that gives you a sense of sanity. And it gives me a sense of sanity because I realize that no matter how low I am, what I'm struggling with, I know I'll find a way. I just know it. I know I have those qualities that will help me find a way. I hope that helps answer your question, Erica. Let me know if you have a follow-up. I'd be glad to answer that too. Rocket, Benjamin said, who cares? I'm 28 and started growing gray hair. I have so many friends who are younger with gray hair. So exactly, Rocket. Orville, that's because we're in a constant hustle. What's the next thing to overcome? Also very true. Benjamin, Magna, what would you say to people who treat dance as the only outlet and being frustrated with feeling like you're not improving at dance? I'm trying to understand this question a little bit. Magna, what would you say to people who treat dance as the only outlet and being frustrated with feeling like you're not improving? It's okay if dance is your only outlet. That's fine. You don't necessarily need many other things, and dance requires one hell of a commitment. Did I get kicked off here? No, hold on. Sorry, folks. I might have gotten kicked. No, I did not. Sorry. Okay, I will get to Instagram in a second. Let me just answer this question from Facebook. So I wouldn't say that you need multiple outlets, right? Again, if you spread yourself too thin, maybe you don't even have the ability to dedicate enough of your time and your energy and your effort into excelling at any one of those things. So it's not necessary that you have multiple outlets. However, it is the approach that you have to any outlet that you are currently using as something for an expression of yourself. It's okay, Benjamin. I'm going to try and answer it. I think I got you. So it's the way you approach that outlet, right? And it's the way you approach your growth too. And this is another thing that I like to share with people. On my YouTube channel, I have this one video about teaching with empathy. Benjamin, if you do get a chance, you can go and check that one out. And it was talking about instructors and how a lot of instructors sometimes will put this pressure on their students, add this extra pressure on their students. Like, come on, guys, we did this like 10 times. How come you didn't get it, right? Or we've been working on this entire month. How come you didn't get it? Well, they've been working on it for a month, but you've been working on it for 20 years, right? So how are you expecting them to get it all of a sudden? But if you notice from the first day of that month to where they are on day 30 of that month, they've gotten a lot actually, right? They have excelled, they have improved. There's been growth. And that's something that instructors sometimes don't see into their students, but also we don't see into ourselves. And so that's where the frustration sometimes arises, is a comparison, right? We compare ourselves with the instructor. Like, all right, I've been taking classes with this person for this long. How come I'm not any better? But it's not that you're not any better. Of course you're better. You improved. You spent a year learning with somebody. You improved in some way or another, whether that was the dance move that you were trying to learn. And even if it wasn't, you learned something else. Or even if it wasn't that you learned how to communicate or learned how to learn, you learned something. You improved in some way, right? The reason you don't feel like you improved is because you're comparing yourself to someone who's been doing it for a significantly longer time, right? And either that, or you're comparing yourself to the other people who have been frequenting the socials, or you're comparing yourself to your partner who you're dancing with, who happens to be at a higher level, right? Or you're someone else who started at the same time as you, who's perhaps better at this moment, right? But people learn differently. They absorb information differently, right? I'm one of those people who can absorb information. Someone could tell me on the phone a shine to do and tell me where I should point my right foot and left foot, and I'll probably figure it out. All right. I can see it and do it. I can feel it and do it. So many of those methods of learning are quite strong in me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been able to get to this level as quickly as I have. But not everyone has that. Right. And that's okay. Right? We're all different. We're supposed to be different. We're going to learn differently. And so what you want to do is remember when you find that you are feeling frustrated with yourself, right? You're like, this is what I do. I dance and I'm not getting better. You are getting better. You have to be able to not just constantly strive for something, but you've got to be able to stop and rest and pat yourself on the back for taking those steps from that point that you were at to the point that you're currently at. Maybe that's where you want to go. You're not there yet, but you have made some progress. And if we don't actually validate, and if we don't affirm ourselves, and if we don't congratulate ourselves, right? We're just constantly hustling. We're just constantly striving. We're not living in the present. We're not appreciating all of the work that went into becoming the person we are today, you know? So, Mr. Benjamin, you might be tired. I hope the answer at least made some sense. So yeah, if you guys are frustrated with whatever it is that you're pursuing, whatever it is that you're doing, take a step back and ask yourself if you've taken the time to congratulate yourself to getting as far as you have, and again, that distance is only relative to what you have traveled, not anybody else. When you start making comparisons, that's where the real frustrations come in, just know that you have made progress some way or another. Orville, I wouldn't mix getting better and using it as an outlet. Agreed. Jason, when was the last time you did cocaine? You should have asked, when will be the first time I do cocaine? As last time didn't happen because there's no first time either. Naomi, why do you choose New York as a home base rather than Toronto? Was the dance scene too small? I actually had met somebody here, and that was the reason I moved to the US. Toronto is a beautiful city. Toronto is always going to be home to me. But now that I'm here, I am making do with a new environment. And I'm not even sure I'm going to be going back to Toronto again. I've often said that I would move to Turkey or something. And now after this quarantine, I was like, where I would love to be stuck inside, or, in my home, in my surrounding area, on a beach. And after going to Bali and Thailand, I'm like, man, I might need to leave this city life. Real quick on Instagram. Hi, Patricio. Hi, Lipta. Hi, Taziago. Christy from El Salvador. Wow, cool. Hi, Christy. Hola. Ludmi. Hi, Ariane from Switzerland. Juan Carlos, DJ Cuba from Denver. Thank you, Gina. All your advice is always appreciated. Gray hair equals wisdom. Thank you, Krishma. I'm assuming you have some too, because I know you're wise. Debraj, all these months I stayed away from TV news channels and focused on listening to music and practicing dance. That's awesome. Espero verte pronto para bailar. Sí, un día. Mike, hello, Mike. Magnified. Yes, that's dope. Alex is asking, I really connect with the video, teaching with empathy. Some instructors give the sensation, even unwillingly, that you are never good enough. Sometimes even when they teach professionals. And that is very true. And that's why I made that video. So whoever is watching at this moment, go check out that video on my YouTube channel, Teaching with Empathy, especially if you're an instructor, because you know what? Most of the times we don't even know what we're doing. We don't even know the little things that we fall into, the bad habits that we fall into. And we as especially as instructors, but everybody in general, you know, but especially people who are in a position of leadership or authority over more than one person. But everyone, you do have influence, you know, on the relationships that you have. But obviously people in leadership and authority have influence over a larger group of people really do need to take time. We need to take time to come back and check ourselves and figure out, like, what are we doing? You know, how are we impacting the people around us? Teaching them moves and getting them to be great dancers is great, but at what cost? Are we breaking their soul? Are we breaking their spirit in the process? Now they're great dancers, but they feel like shit. They think they're not ever going to be any good, you know? That's not a cost. I think that's worth it. It's not a cost we should ask anybody to pay, a price anyone should pay. Krishna, Alex, you can live in Rio, big city with beaches. Yes, and crime. I'm gonna pass on the crime part. All right, back to Facebook and YouTube. Jason is just wondering. Okay. Bonnie, where are you from in India? I was from Delhi. I was born in Delhi. Hi, Adriana. Wow, long time. So nice to see you. Your name, because I can't see you, obviously. Bonnie from Chennai. Cool. Shay, I asked you about this a long time ago, but can you talk about leading within your follow? There are videos of yours that I watch where you aren't just following within a dance, you lead the dance a bit as well. And hello from Alaska. Excellent question. A little bit hard to probably talk about in terms of, like, you know, breaking it down and showing you all. However, leading within the dance, I do that all the time. And I do that a lot, actually, in terms of every relationship that I get into. If we could take the lead's role and just call it influence, for example, right? There are many situations, there are many people who influence us. If we can see ourselves as equal, then we feel like we can also influence that situation. And the same approach that I use when it comes to social settings is the same approach that I use on the dance floor. And I remember speaking to a friend recently about, what was it? Like, sometimes they don't want to go out because there's a really negative energy and the vibe of the people, or at this particular social, everyone's so closed off and cliquey or whatever, right? And I was like, well, that's a power, right? That's a power of someone's energy to project that and for you to then feel like shit because of it. But if they can do it, then so can you, right? Again, it's these moments where we give so much credit to other people as if they are something special, when really they're just other human beings who might have mastered a skill, who might have spent time training something, but they're still human, you know? And so are we. And so if they're capable, so are we, right? And that's my approach to relationships, to social settings, to the dance, which is, you can lead, but so can I, right? Now, of course, when it comes to the dance itself, there's a certain level of fitness and knowledge and finesse that is required to be able to craft your message and interject it into the dance in a way that does not cause a rift, or does not cause headbutting or confusion or conflict, right? But there is a way to do that. And, conflict negotiations is a perfect field to compare it to, right? Like you have someone who's determined to do something, and then you kind of come in and finagle a different solution, right? Find a way. And the way to do it is not by coming in with your own solution to a problem you might not even understand. It's by asking questions, always asking questions, trying to find out where they're at. And then once you find out where they're at, then manipulating that movement, manipulating that moment, right? So the dance is like that for me. I'm not leading in that dance, just doing my own thing. That's a real failure to see what's actually happening in the dance. If you're like, oh yeah, she just does whatever, it's a hijack. I'm like, yeah, kind of, but a hijack implies like victims and prisoners and shit like that. My partners are willing participants. They are happy to go where I'm taking them. So I wouldn't consider it hijacking anything. But it is that mentality. It is that approach to the dance of where I'm like, all right, well, I see where you're going. I have some ideas. I have some suggestions. Not sure if you're open to them, but I'm going to see where is the best time to talk about them and see if I can convince you over there. Hope that helps. I have somebody here. How do I block someone when people are just, there we go. Some people just started blah, 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 blah on, I think it's because it's on YouTube. YouTube is just really an open channel. So sometimes I get weird people. Instagram, I've had that too, though. Pamela from in Argentina in Mumbai. Hi, Pamela. Shay, I hope that helped clarify that a little bit. Okay, Instagram. What are the rhythms you dance, not only professionally? That's a tough one. I dance to pretty much everything. I will dance to everything. There aren't very many other dances that I would stop myself from trying and testing out. If somebody invites me to do something, I would go ahead and do it. Really knowing them inside out, though, like salsa for sure. That one I feel very comfortable with. Bachata is pretty easy in terms of movement. A lot of that movement can be taken and transferred over from salsa. Tango, samba de gaffiera, West Coast swing. Again, these are not dances that I would consider myself a pro at, but there are definitely dances that I can follow to a certain degree. And again, that goes back to not sitting there and saying, oh, well, you know what? I've never taken a lesson, or I've never danced this dance, so there's no way that I could do it. No, it is a partner dance. There's a lead and a follow. There are going to be some simple moves. There are some basics that the dance is founded upon. All I need to do is want to connect with that person as best as I can. And almost all the time, that simple intention allows me to follow a new dance that I've perhaps never done anything in. Boom. Gina, how can I approach an instructor to dance with me at a congress or a social without being judged? What a great question. That's a fantastic question. I'm just saying, like, and this is not even all the questions, but this is like, I've only gone through 3 of these questions here. And I didn't even write down all the other ones because I was like, oh, that's really, really deep shit that I don't know if I'll have time to get through today. But Gina, let me get to that question. Hi, Sabrina. The question again is, how can I approach an instructor to dance with me at a congress or a social without being judged? The last part, you can't avoid that. First of all, that's the first part, is getting over the fact that you're going to be judged. That's normal. That's really natural for all of us to do. We see somebody, we eyeball them, we look at them, we're like, we have all types of thoughts that run through our head, right? Depending on the way they ask, depending on how they're dressed, depending on how sweaty they are. If I did not have my career in this industry and built my reputation and all that stuff, when I go and ask someone to dance, they would say no 100% of the time. Because if any of you have seen me at socials, you know how crazy I look. Like, this does not last, right? I'm like drenched in sweat, like my clothes are sweaty. I look like a train wreck, right? And I'm like, hey, you want to dance? They're like, she's crazy. No, I don't want to dance with a crazy girl, right? So first thing would be to obviously get over the fact that you're going to be judged, right? To not sit there and wonder if you're going to be judged or how to avoid being judged. Just assume they're going to make a judgment, right? Now, you want to go into what it is that you want, right? And I actually talked about this in something. I have a lot of videos, just saying, for those of you joining from like Facebook and on Instagram, I really recommend checking out my YouTube channel. That's mainly where I post all of these kind of videos, like empowered thoughts and how to communicate and how to connect with people. I know I've talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it since you're here now. Is that you want to be clear on what it is you want, all right? Do you want to dance with that one person? Or do you want to dance? Do you want to dance with a good dancer? Is that what you're looking for? If you don't dance with this person, what does that mean? If they say no to you, what does that mean? How are you interpreting their rejection? Are you interpreting their rejection as I suck? Or are you interpreting their rejection as they don't want to dance? Because if you view it as I suck, you're going to start projecting a bunch of judgment that maybe they did not even make. Maybe they just said no because they don't want to dance. And they're not even really judging you. They just looked at you and said, another person who wants to dance with me that I don't really feel like dancing right now, so I'm going to say no to this person. It could be you. It could be, it could be you, Gina. It could be Jenny. It could be, Clara, whoever, right? Could be anybody. They would have said no. So it really had nothing to do with you. But that judgment, that feeling of judgment, depends often on how they react to us, right? What they say. You could get a yes from an instructor and still feel judged during the dance, right? Someone could say yes and then kind of just be like, oh, charity dance, like these people don't even dance well and I'm wasting my, so now you're like, oh, I must really suck because they're not even smiling and, interacting with me, right? So first thing is get rid of the idea that you can avoid the judgment. You can't. That's life. And it's not up to you to determine whether someone judges you or how they judge you. You just got to live your life a certain way and, make sure you carry yourself in a way that you feel you would judge yourself well, right? And then the second part is you want to dance that night, right? So if you want to dance, you go and get your dance. I know you might want to dance with Mr. X, right? But if Mr. X says no, that should not be the end of your night because there's the entire alphabet still, right? That you can cycle through again if you need. So go back to your original purpose of why you're there. If Mr. X was not there, would you have not gone out, right? Or if Mr. X leaves, are you going to leave as well? Probably not, right? You would have still gone out. You're not going to leave. You're there. You're going to go and have fun. So remember that when it comes to those moments where you might ask somebody to dance and, you're nervous about asking them, they're an instructor and they say no, or they look like they're already judging you as you're walking across the dance floor. Just remember that night, they are but a tiny fraction of that night for you. And that night would exist with or without them. And so don't give them any more importance than they deserve. And don't project anything on them either. So if they say no, don't sit there and say, oh, they didn't dance with me because now you start to look like the jerk because you're sitting there giving them a bad reputation for no reason. Or if they just don't want to dance. They didn't say anything about you, right? Hope that helps. Gina, basically more skills than, debate if I should ask without being rejected. That's the other part, the judgment aspect. Can't avoid that. You can't run from rejection, and I'll say that to you, all of you watching right now. It doesn't matter how good you get. It does not matter how good you get. Many of you are probably even only know of me because of the level that I have grown to within this industry as a professional. That's maybe the only reason you know me. Otherwise, you would not be tuning into Magna Who, right? But rejection doesn't stop, just because you get good. It doesn't. Because again, it's about connection. It's about different connections. Like now, at a higher level in terms of skill, but I have a very unique style that not everyone wants to deal with. all the time, right? And so I have to accept that. I can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, I'm good, or I'm better than you, or whatever, or we're at the same level, we're artists." No, nobody owes me anything, right? You do what you feel comfortable doing. You do what you can actually give your 100% to. And if they don't feel like they can connect with me, then I'd rather pass on them too, right? So rejection and the judgment. Don't go into anything trying to avoid them. You can't avoid them. Just accept that they exist. Accept that you might have to deal with it. And once you get over that, then there's no fear, right? There's no fear of that anymore. It's just another thing that happens. Like a yes, same thing as a no. The only thing that's different is the yes will lead you dancing with this person. The no will have you dancing with a different person, basically, right? All right. Okay. Whew. We're already at 3:15. Okay. That is not what I was thinking was going to happen today. This is I am going to do this for a little longer, maybe another 15 minutes, and then we'll wrap up at 3:30. And again, please, 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 if you are online right now, please go to my website. Just open that page in another browser so you have it ready for when you finish this live chat. magnagopal.com/feedback. There is a form for the live Q&A. If there are topics, like, for example, if I don't get to your question, Benjamin, you've got like a multi-part question. Isabel's got a question. Justin also mentioned, I didn't even think about it. For those of you, one, obviously there's my YouTube channel, but also on rejection itself, I did a TED talk on that, the benefits of rejection, actually. So if you want a different approach to any of those things, check out the YouTube channel, check out the TED talk. So I might not be able to get to everyone's question here. There's one question here from Alex here in Instagram, but in the feedback form, you can pose other questions, and if anything, if I obviously am not getting through everything today, I will try and schedule another one in the future. I was thinking monthly, I think that's manageable for all of us. And yeah, these will be like live chats, who's here is here type of thing. All right. So, hello, Richie. Woo, lots of questions. It says more about them than about you, Gina. Well, okay. Sorry. Hold on. Wait, I got to touch on that one. Krishma. Krishma said it says more about them than about you. Just go for it without thinking, in terms of like them either saying no or judging you. This is okay. This one's really, really important. Okay. That attitude, if they're really being rude, right? Yeah, it does say more about them, right? If they're expressing their answer or whatever they're feeling, but like really projecting it in a negative way, yes, it does say more about them. But what it says about them is important to remember. It doesn't say that they're necessarily a bad person. And this is important for us to keep in mind. What it says is that they don't have the ability to deal. That's what it says. So if you're going to say, that person's a jerk, right? Or that person's like this, try before you make that statement, before you condemn them and like throw them in a black hole, or, try and get all your friends to hate them too. Try to understand that not everyone has the capacity, the intelligence, the emotional intelligence to deal with difficult things in their life in a way that they don't carry it and put it into every other relationship and every other encounter that they have, right? I am guilty of, this thing keeps like losing focus. I'm guilty of that. I've done that too. I've had someone like be really rude and I'm like, well, you know what? That guy's a blah, 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 right? But really, what do I know, right? Did I ask? I didn't ask. Did I ask why he feels that way or how come he was so rude? Maybe he doesn't even think he's being rude. There are different cultures, right? Like people always say, oh, the French are like this or the Russians are like this, right? Like there are different cultures. Maybe the way they're acting, the way they're responding is not with any intention, right? It's just answering a question. It's just that's the way they speak, right? So let's be careful about that. Let's be careful about how we project the reverse judgment, right? Here we are saying, oh yeah, well, I felt like I was judged and now I'm going to judge that person. Well, it doesn't make you any better, does it? Right? Makes you human. That's fine. And like I said, can't avoid the judgment, right? Everyone's going to do it, including you, including me. But let's just be mindful of how we're projecting that, and understand that when someone's really being rude and mean and all of that stuff, I honestly, I don't think people mean to be that way. Just like a rough leader or a rough follower, I don't think they go on the dance floor and say, you know what, I'm gonna break some arms today. That's not how they approach the dance. They just happen to do that because they don't know any better. Someone hasn't shown them the right way, right? It's worked with one person, so they think it works with everyone, right? And that's growth, right? They're going to have to experience that growth someday, somehow. Maybe they never will, but that's something to feel sad about, not to be upset about. Yeah. That one was deep. Okay, so we got a lot of questions here. I do apologize, but oh yeah, so Winston, thank you. You guys are so good. You guys are so on top of this. Winston's like, hey, she's got a podcast too. This is true. I have a podcast with my co-host Leon Rose, Naked and Counting, which you can find on every platform. I'm actually thinking of doing my own podcast, this Empowered with Magna podcast, because I think these kind of topics are great. But I really like this. Also, I like this live chat, which is pretty cool. But maybe I can do that. I mean, you can always share your thoughts about that in the feedback form. Don't forget the feedback form, magnapal.com/feedback. Okay, so let me say maybe a little hi, Chad. Answer my question on the box. Don't worry, Alex. Okay, cool. Boom. Get over body shaming. How to. No, not about judging. Oh, sorry. Indeed, you never know what someone's going through. Are you taking dance-related questions? Chad, I have been here since 2:00. I am no longer taking any more questions, actually. But I will definitely be doing this again. I was thinking of a monthly schedule. So again, in the feedback form, let me know what you think. I would love to do this. I love talking about this stuff. Again, this is all along the lines of, kind of the direction that I've been taking my career in the past couple of years, which is more towards public speaking, but also more towards coaching, because someone was asking me, about dance, like how have I gotten good at that? Someone else was asking about how did you pivot, from dance to the fitness stuff, asking how do you deal with like rejection? How do you deal with the issues in relationships, romantic relationships? How do you deal with creativity blocks? All of these things. And it's all mindset, And so for me, that's really where I want to focus my attention is coaching, is to help people like yourselves and even myself, by asking those questions, but then also finding solutions that allow us to be human in this life, allow us to live like humans and not have this sense or this idea that we have to be perfect and that everything has to be done a certain way because it was done a certain way before, or that we have to do things this way because all these people that we're close to and that we admire do it that way, So yeah, a way to be human and a way to appreciate our uniqueness. And we are all unique. I know that sounds like everyone's unique. It's not unique to say it. Anyways, but there's no one else like you, right? There's no one else like you on this planet. There never will be. And that's beautiful, right? And so I want to help other people embrace that the way I've embraced it. My challenges, my difficulties, my flaws, my good traits, my failures and my successes, they are mine, and they are mine to experience, and they're mine to give back, in a way that only I can. No one else can, and I believe that we all have that. We all have that voice. We all have something, and that's what I would like to help other people with as well. So thank you for a wonderful session. Anytime you see me post anything about Q&As, I do recommend responding, and especially when I'm fielding questions, responding, because a lot of the questions I'll try to answer will be the ones, of course, I started off with the easy ones. I should have probably gone right into the hard ones, but a lot of the questions I'll answer will depend, kind of like what I'm getting already, and then that helps guide the rest of the talk. But also the questions you ask, again, going back to why am I even doing this, right? Again, I said I feel like a crazy person looking at myself on this screen and then going over here and then looking at myself on this screen, right? It's weird. So I'm doing this to be a better person and to give more, right? Like there was one question, I wished I could remember who said it and where they said it. I feel like I did not write that one down. But it was along the lines of, Irina asked, what's your biggest fear? I should not be ending on this, right? I should not be like, okay, we're going to wrap up in 2 minutes and then say, what's your biggest fear? I'll go into this in a little bit more detail in a future one. And if I don't, please remind me. But I don't want to disappear. I don't want to die and that's it. Like Magna's gone, body's gone, and poof, there's nothing left, right? So for me, I made a video again. I made another video on that as well, which is also on my YouTube, with the secret to immortality, right? Secret to immortality, to living forever, is really based on how we connect with other human beings. It's about the impact that we have on other people, how the legacy, right, that you leave behind. And so for me, everything I do is with that intention. My intention is to try to leave the best impression on the people that I have a chance to connect with, the people I have a chance to spend time with, the people who are giving me their attention, like all of you at this moment. You could be doing anything else, but you are taking the time to be here with me, which is why I'm so adamant about, like, I want to make sure that this is worth it. I don't want to like just come out here and be like, okay, so like, the ceiling is white, and like maybe you'd be entertained by that. I mean, I know some people are entertained by like weird things, not judging, right? But I want to offer something of value, right, in whatever I do. And one of the ways that I do that is by asking questions, is by fielding questions, is by trying to understand what is on your mind, right? What is on your mind? What do you want to know? What would help you? What could I do to help you? And so anytime you see me ask questions, like, I don't do them that often, but I do try and connect the questions with something that I'm about to post. I've been doing poetry readings lately that I've been adding to YouTube. And depending on the topic of the poem, I sometimes throw in like a question like, how do you feel about being alone, right? What does that mean to you? Like, answer if you can, if you don't mind. And of course, if you don't want to add it publicly in the comments, you can always send me a private message. But by answering it, you're giving me a chance to grow myself, right? Because in the process of trying to, by asking me a question, in the process of me trying to answer your question, I have to do a lot of reflection. I have to sit there and be like, how would I, do I feel this way too? When I feel this way, how do I get through that? What are the ways that I do this? And then once I've had that experience, that moment of growth, I can then redirect that and send that back to you, right? So whenever you see those questions, please take a moment to write that out. And of course, my website, magnagopal.com. I will be doing another intensive during the week, most likely weeknights, but with replays, of course, so that you can follow along on your own schedule. And of course, on my website, there's some on-demand courses, mostly dance stuff, but I think I might throw something on there for like public speaking or dealing with rejection, like these other things that we've been talking about today. free resources are available on my YouTube channel. The empowered videos are really good to go through. Even the poetry readings. I know you kind of like look at a poetry, you're like, why would I want to listen to her say a poem? But I'm going to start adding at the end of it, like why I chose that poem, because again, what resonates with us for a reason. And most of the time we don't necessarily vocalize that reason. We're just like, oh, I like that, right? But sometimes it's nice to take a little bit of take a moment and reflect and say, why do I like that? Why did I choose this? Why did this make me smile? Or why did this give me goosebumps? Or why did this make my heart sink into my stomach, right? So yeah, there's a lot of free resources out there. I am going to also try and start getting back into writing my blog. Lots of projects on my plate at the moment, just because, yes, there's time and all my work is canceled. And then, yeah, for the fitness stuff, anyone who does want to do the training, if you did have a chance to join the free classes for 2 months, if you're interested in doing private sessions, that's available as well. The registration's on my site. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned today, if I went through it too quickly, because I know I speak sometimes a little bit quickly, feel free to send me a message on any of these 4 platforms or through my website. You can send me a DM or send me a comment or whatever. Okay. I guess that's it for today. Thank you, all of you. I'm here because you give me a platform. You provide me this opportunity with being here. And I just want to say thank you for entrusting me with answering these questions. And I hope that they help. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And I will catch you all in the next live. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form. Pretty please. Feedback, magnapile.com. All right. Have a fantastic day, everybody. See you soon. Bye, Instagram, folks. And I'm still here on Facebook and YouTube, FYI, just in case you want to say a little more highs or byes or whatever. I don't even know. I hope I'm still connected. Like I see, the live counter is going 1 minute and 30, 1 hour and 30. But okay. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Catch you very, very soon.